Aren't you a little young to have an iPhone?
You want to go?
sheep, copy bots.
Autocorrect this.
Microsoft hoping to get new Windows Mobile users by pitting Apple against Samsung in a new and absolutely hilarious ad. If you haven't seen it, check it out, at least online. The question, though, is, will it all work? Well, let's bring in Jonathan Geller, president of BGR, and Sasha Segan, lead mobile analyst at PC Mag. It's kind of ironic, isn't it, Jonathan? And maybe even a reflection of real life in terms of market share. There are only like 2 people in the room in that ad who are actually using this Nokia Lumia phone.
Exactly. I mean, it's exactly true to life. There's about 2, 3, 4% market share. 2 people in the phone using those phones makes perfect sense.
And yet, is it going to work?
I mean, look, they've spent so much money, Microsoft and Nokia, in terms of promoting this. They've been practically bribing salespeople at carrier stores to push their phones. It hasn't worked. I mean, I think the numbers were $10, $20 billion. I mean, they're spending so much money.
I want to get to you, Sasha, because, you know, look, a lot of people say, and I think Brian's got a Nokia Lumia as well, and he often says it's one of the best phones he's ever seen, and yet it doesn't have a huge ecosystem, doesn't have a huge amount of app support. Is that going to be the killer for this otherwise good-to-use phone?
Well, in our study at PC Mag, we did a huge survey, and we found that Windows Phone 8 had top customer satisfaction. People actually liked these phones more than Samsung or Apple owners like their phones. But Nokia has been crippled for the past 2 years by the fact that its flagship phone is only available on one carrier. It's only been available on AT&T. They haven't been able to open it up to the broader market, and that kind of strategy just doesn't work anymore. They've locked out 75% of the U.S. from even considering their phone.
Why haven't they been able to get it out to the broader market? I mean, what's stopping them from still doing that, or is it just too late at this stage, Sasha?
Well, Verizon is probably going to launch a Nokia flagship phone soon. That's going to help. But a lot of it has been around Nokia thinking that the carrier is going to market my phone model is going to work for them, is going to help push marketing, when in fact it looks like it just didn't push the phone into consciousness. It hasn't jump-started the ecosystem, and relying on the carrier that much to market and promote your device just isn't the way to go anymore.
Okay, well, let's switch gears, guys. We've got BlackBerry CEO Thorsten Hines saying the tablet computer will be dead in 5 years. It's a pretty bold statement, and maybe even, Sasha, I'll start with you this time, some sour grapes, could you say?
Oh, yeah, this is absolutely sour grapes. BlackBerry came into the tablet market a few years ago with an unfinished product. The BlackBerry Playbook was an alpha product released onto the market without a proper ecosystem, without even all of its features baked in, and it pretty much failed. And since then, BlackBerry has had all of this turmoil, has developed its new operating system, but they don't have a tablet Play right now, and John probably knows details about this even better than I do. So what he's saying right now is there's an area we're not successful in, so we don't think it's a big business.
So how serious should we take Thorsten Hines' prognostication on the tablets and their death seriously?
Well, I mean, I definitely agree with Sasha. I think the quote was, you know, the tablets aren't a good business, and they're not a good business for BlackBerry. I think if you see Apple, if you see Android right now, they're doing very well in tablets. You know, is it conceivable in the next 5 years tablets might not be as important as they are today? Sure. But at the end of the day, you know, this is coming from BlackBerry, and BlackBerry is a company that just came out with 2 new smartphones that still are not as good as, I believe, any other product. So they've had all this time to make up for their shortcomings in smartphones, and they still can't, let alone get into tablets or these different peripheral devices that other companies are now starting to try and work towards.
Bottom line, do you think we'll still be using tablets in 5 years' time?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure we won't be using BlackBerries.
Understood. Let's talk Google Glass. Some are saying it is the next big thing in tech, including Mark Andreessen. Take a listen.
This thing has the potential to be a platform certainly as big as the smartphone, a range of things people are going to be able to do. Just think of every EMT medical professional in the world having up-to-the-minute live videos and diagrams for every medical procedure they could possibly do in their field division at all times. And imagine that in every category of human activity. It's a really big deal.
A really big deal. Do you agree or disagree, Jonathan?
I mean, it's too early to tell right now. It's very conceptual. It's only out to 7,000 to 8,000 people. It's very expensive. socially, there's huge boundaries. I personally just think a watch is a little bit more...
When you say socially, lots of boundaries because it looks geeky to wear those glasses and walk around?
Forget the looks. I mean, you have a camera that's facing out at all times. There's privacy issues. You have Google now sensing exactly where you're going. In the future, they'll be able to market to you and know where you've been and put it in your eye. I mean, these are things that people need to kind of work through first, and the technology is definitely not there yet for mass market consumers.
But
it might be.
Maybe in a few years' time. Sasha, what do you think about Google Glass?
There's definitely uses for wearable gadgets. There are various verticals, as Mark said, medical, transportation, logistics, et cetera, even retail, where people want to keep both hands free and still have access to some information. So this could be a really useful tool in a lot of situations. But as John says, it is way too early to see how this thing is going to develop. And right now, it is this parade of balding, middle-aged white men taking selfies in the shower and being impressed with themselves. And the hysteria needs to calm down so that the serious people can get to work making applications for this device.
I want to know, though, I mean, if not Google Glass, what could be the next big thing? I mean, we talk about all these gadgets, for example, smart watches, that people like Apple are working on, supposedly. If not Google Glass, if not watches, then what? Sasha, do you think is going to be the next big thing in a few years' time in terms of consumer gadgetry?
Well, I think what Google Glass and watches both are, and the segment that is expanding very quickly right now, is this idea of wearables, and especially devices that are on you, are attached to your body in some way all the time, are providing information, and have sensors. And we see this through all of the body monitoring gadgets that are out there right now. We see this through the S-Health feature in the new Samsung Galaxy S4. We see this through the watch, through the watch trend, through Google Glasses. There's going to be more connectivity attached to our bodies in the near future, and that's where all of this is going.
Or maybe even inside our bodies in the further future. To both of you, thank you very much for joining us, Jonathan and Sasha.